welcome to the Doubleheader, a show that previews MLB's American League and National League. I'm Dante Vacatore, and I'm here with Alec Roman and Stephen Bologna. Guys, the 2019 MLB season has just begun and shaping up to be another great season. Let's take a look first at the AL, specifically the AL East, one of the toughest divisions in baseball last year, both the Red Sox and Yankees, 100-plus win seasons, the Rays coming in at over 90 wins. Alec, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to win this incredibly tough division?
Well, starting at the bottom of the pack for their division, I believe, like you said, two teams with over 100 wins. We're going to have one team with over 100 losses in the Orioles. I only see them winning 61 games. Toronto finishing with 76, having a little downturn of a season. Tampa Bay not going to where they were last year with 83 wins. And then the tight race at the top, Boston versus the Yankees. I believe the Yankees come out with 103 and win the division, while the Red Sox take the wild card from that division with 102. And I think the reason that the Yankees take that division is a guy coming into his second season with the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton. The outfielder slash DH for their team. He plays a really good game, and now he's feeling more in the Yankees culture. He's getting more into the I'm not the only guy on this Marlins team like I was before. I am not having to be the centerpiece. I can play off Aaron Judge. I can play off Gary Sanchez. When Luke Voit gets hot, I can play off him. There's other players in the lineup now. I think kind of like we saw in hockey with Taylor Hall coming into his own in his second season in New Jersey, I think that Giancarlo is going to come into his second season with New York Yankees.
Steven, what do you think?
I'm pretty much similar as you, Alec. The Orioles, I'm not really buying into their hype. I do think they have a little bit of a bright future, though, with Brandon Hyde at the helm, only having 52 wins. It's going to be a rough year for them. Toronto Blue Jays, another sub-70 win. I don't think they're going to be bad unless they call up their top two prospects, Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Until that happens, I don't really see anything happening. Tampa Bay Rays, similar to last year, about 90 wins. I have them at 89. The Red Sox, I'm not buying into their hype. I think they go under 100, only at 97. The Yankees, I'm giving them the 100 mark, 102 wins. And I really need to highlight Aaron Judge because he has turned into the quote-unquote captain of the team. You look at the way this guy plays. Defending-wise, the monster. You can hit any ball to him in the outfield, he'll probably get it. He can rob home runs. He's not afraid to lay out for the ball. Hitting-wise, this guy should have won the MVP in 2017, Jose Altuve unfortunately got it. But, I mean, there's really nothing this guy can't do. The only issue is his strikeouts. But like you were saying earlier, he does have some cushion as well. Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Luke Voit. He's in the 2 spot. But he does have some pressure on him because he is looked at as really the face of the franchise and really the face of New York as well. So I think the team's really going to ride on him, and he should live up to the hype.
As we move out west, a little further west, we'll manifest destiny here. Going from the most competitive division in the AL to the least competitive, the AL Central. Cleveland ran away with this division last year. Steven, chat me up. Who do you think is going to win the Central?
I'm going to go with the exact same result as last year. The Cleveland Indians are going to take it home. I have the Detroit Tigers finishing last. I don't really see much future there in them. Kansas City Royals, it's been a long time since that 2015 World Series run. Chicago White Sox think got a little bit better. Still don't see much about them. The Twins did improve a lot. I like their signings greatly, especially Marwin Gonzalez. But the Cleveland Indians, I think the firepower that they have is just super impressive. And I need to highlight the best player on the team, the shortstop, Francisco Lindor. I know he's starting off this season on the DL with a calf strain, but there's really not much this guy can do. He's the perfect leadoff hitter. Batted .277 with 183 hits, 129 runs, and 25 stolen bases in 2018. There's literally nothing this guy can't do. He's won a Gold Glove. Like I said, he turned the most double plays in the league last year as well. He's your perfect player to lead a franchise. They don't really have much other offensive firepower. Jose Ramirez, okay, but he does get hurt sometimes. Lindor, he's going to have to stay healthy. And ever since Edwin Encarnacion left, I really think Lindor is the best player on the team easily.
Alec?
Well, I think I'm going to have to mostly agree with you, Steve. I think that the Tigers and the Royals are sub-500 teams. I only have the Royals going over by a couple wins. But something I do disagree with you on, I think that the race between the Twins and the Indians is going to be a lot tighter than what you had. I have the Twins winning the division 1 game over the Indians, and it's for this reason. I think the Indians don't they've been kind of the same team for a little bit now. They've been the Windians, and they've had the same kind of structure. It's been built around Kluber. But I think the thing that's going to, like you said, the acquisition of Marwin Gonzalez in the offseason, and this guy I'm going to reference right now, Jorge Polanco. I think him coming into his own is now he gets more MLB playing time. He's been filling in mostly for Lindor while Lindor was hurt. He's been playing the shortstop role, but I view him more of as a utility player. Someone kind of like Gleyber Torres or Tyler Wade from the Yankees. He can play second, he can play third, he can play short, he can even DH in some situations. I think the more at-bats he gets, the better it's going to be for his career and the better it's going to be for the Twins because they get that big bat in the lineup that can get on base.
Now, as presidents from the late 19th, early 20th century talked about manifest destiny, let's finally move to the AL West. Mike Trout just signed gargantuan contract extension with the Angels, but they haven't made the playoffs since 2014. The Astros have really been the dominant force here. Alec, who do you think is going to take away the AL West?
Look, I think it's still going to be the Astros. No one in that division really looks at me and says, oh yeah, we can run away with this division like the Astros have. I mean, I think they have the Astros with 90 wins. I have the A's making 88 wins, but not really coming close until the end when teams start to give up in their last 2 weeks. And I have the A's just because, like you said, gargantuan contract with Trout. I think he has to play for it now and prove while he's there. So I think he's going to have a slightly better season. I think they make the wild card, but I think that the Astros make the playoffs by the play of Carlos Correa. As a fellow Puerto Rican myself, I have to cheer for him. But I love the way this guy plays. He's speedy, he's powerful, and defensively, I mean, one of the best, probably the best shortstop right now in Major League Baseball defensively. His range is out there. His career batting average is .277, and for a shortstop who was on a lot of rough teams while they were coming up when it was just him and Altuve, to have a .277 batting average when you were a lot of losing seasons, that says a lot.
Steven, do you agree?
I do. I think the Astros are going to run away with this one again. I know they took some hits in the offseason, losing really 3 out of their top starting pitchers. Bottom of the division, Texas Rangers, no future there. Chris Woodward, first year as the manager, not really feeling his hype. Seattle Mariners, I know they're off to a hot start. I'm not buying it. They're in rebuild mode. The Angels, 82 wins. Okay, they're going to finish about average. I wasn't a fan of the Mike Socha firing. I think Mike Trout's really have to carry them. The Oakland Athletics, I am in on. I really like their team. Obviously, the issue is pitching. But again, the Houston Astros, I think they're going to win even 100 games. And that's going to come off the play of Alex Bregman. Just re-signed, fresh extension this year. There's really nothing this guy can't do, similar to Lindor. Defensively, very good player. He's not, he could play second base. He could play shortstop, He could probably even play first if you really put him there. Hitting-wise, guy has not struck out over 100 times in a season before, which that's pretty impressive because you look at the league, it's kind of turning into a big strikeout league, as we see with a lot of players. Also, he was an All-Star last year, first time, All-Star MVP. He was 5th in the MVP voting. This guy deserves his money, and the Astros are really going to have to fuel off him because Correa has some injury history. Altuve has some injury history. Alex Bregman is really the only guy that stayed consistent over these past few years, especially now with a depleted pitching staff and bullpen. They're going to need him to come up big.
Great stuff. One last question for you both. Steven, we'll go to you first. Who do you think will compete in this year's AL wildcard game?
I think the Boston Red Sox do get in. I think it's going to be a late push, as well as the Oakland Athletics. I think the Athletics came really hot last year, like we saw, and I think it's going to be a repeat again under the helm of Bob Melvin. I like him a lot. The Boston Red Sox, huge team, underdog to look out for.
I'm going to have to disagree on the Athletics pick, but I am going to stick with the Red Sox. I think with the Sale extension, with Bogarts getting his money, I think as we move towards the rest of the season, you're going to see Mookie Betts get his money. You're going to see Benintendi get his money. They're going to start playing better. Like you said, late push. I had them at 102 wins. I have them in there. I have the Angels in there, actually, because I do believe that Mike Trout will shoulder the burden this year and get them to the wild card for the first time in his career. I do like their team, and I do expect them with that new money contract locking him up for 13 years.
Yes.
You're going to be able to entice a few free agents and a few smaller trades throughout the year to say, hey, Mike Trout's here for 13 years. Don't you want to play with Mike Trout? I think the worry before was he'll go to Philly in a year or two. Now he's there for 13 years. Now you can really build around him.
Certainly a lot of big storylines in the American League, and it's going to be interesting to see how they develop over the season. Great stuff. After the break, we'll take a look at the National League. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Doubleheader, where we will discuss the American League and move on to the National League. Steven, we start with you, and we start with the NL East. Bryce Harper moving from one NL East team to the other. 13 years, $330 million. Are they the favorite for you in the NL East?
Well, first I have to say it's going to be the tightest division probably in baseball other than the NL Central, but I do not think the Phillies are going to take it home. I think the Miami Marlins, right down there at the bottom of the sea, good fish reference there. I don't really see a future with them. The New York Mets, really good start to the year. I think they're going to be in wild card contention. I don't think they're going to get it, though. Washington Nationals, a high team. I'm high on them. We're going to have to see how they play. The Phillies, just under 90 wins. I do think that they're going to be up there. But I think the Atlanta Braves have too much firepower going in their favor. And that's going to be off the bat of Ronald Acuna Jr., the kid phenom, 21 years old, came up last year, about 3 weeks in, and there's really nothing else this kid can't do. 5-tool player. He won Rookie of the Year last season. He batted .293, 127 hits, 26 home runs, and he broke the leadoff batter home run record. And surprisingly, manager Brian Snitker moved him back to the 4-hole. I'm not exactly sure why. I think he was a good fit at the leadoff position. They need consistency, the Braves, and Ronald Acuna is going to do that. He didn't get hurt last year. The only time he got hurt was in the playoffs when Walker Buehler, of course, hit him on the wrist. But other than that, I think this kid is easily going to be one of the top players in the league. And here's one for you, Dante. He arguably might win the MVP.
That's a bold prediction.
Yes, it
right
is.
there.
Bold.
Something I saw with you, too, 4 teams with winning records there.
Yes.
So it could really be anyone's race.
It's anyone's game.
Alec, what do you think?
Well, I also have 4 teams with winning records. I think that, like you said, the Marlins,
Shit.
they are the smallest fish in the smallest pond they can find. They're 102 losses. I do have the Braves coming in and actually 4th. Then 3rd and then 4th with the Mets. The Braves only getting 1 game higher. I don't think my problem with the Braves is I don't think they have the pitching for it. I think in this division with Bryce Harper in it, with Robinson Cano now joining the division as well, you need good pitching. I don't think the Braves have that. Who I do think has great pitching is Philly with winning the division with 89 wins, and Aaron Nola, who was the runner-up to the Cy Young last year. I mean, this man's 2018 stat line was one of the best that we'd ever seen. His movement is incredible. His speed is great. He had over 200 strikeouts, 200 innings pitched, had a sub-2.5 ERA. But the most important thing to me, Dante, is he lets up less than 7 hits a game and less than 1 home run a game. And in a division where you're playing in a hitter's park every day and you're in a division with powerful hitting, it's really important to keep that ERA really, really low. So in a battle between him and DeGrom going forward, I think Nola this year has the advantage.
Alec, we'll keep it with you. Topic that we've debated on WP Sports Desk multiple times, the NL Central, 3 teams deep who stake their claim really for the division crown. Who do you got out of them?
Look, coming out of the Central, I know that people like the Cubs, I know people like the Cardinals, but I really like the Brewers. I think that the Brewers are the top team to look at in that division. Another division where I have 4 teams over 80 wins, the Reds going actually 500, Chicago getting 83, St. Louis getting 85, and Milwaukee coming in with 86 to win the division. But I think it's all off the bat of outfielder Christian Yelich. We talk about his former team with the Marlins previously. I think that he's a really, really, really good pickup. Last year, he had a batting average of .326, which is just incredible for any guy. Talk about the Brewers, and when a few years ago, the Brewers were a joke of a team. Christian Yelich comes in, and all of a sudden, they're a contender for titles. He's had a really good season, Golden Glove winner, Silver Slugger, All-Star. I think he continues to improve in his second season, and I only see things going up for him in the home run category as well. I think he breaks 40 home runs this year, playing in different parks, plus in the Brewer Stadium.
Steven, you got a similar opinion?
I am going to go with the team in Chicago, not named the White Sox, the Chicago Cubs. I really think that this is their year. They won 95 games last year without Chris Bryant, who I'm going to talk about in a second. The Pirates, another down year for them. I don't see anything happening there. The Reds got better, not enough to win the division, though. The Cardinals, Brewers, and Cubs, obviously it's going to be a tight race, all over 84 wins. But speaking on Chris Bryant, like I said before, the Cubs won 95 games last year without him in the lineup for most of the season. This guy was the 2016 MVP, the year that they won the World Series. He is a phenomenal defender. Hitting-wise, he can hit for contact, he can hit for power, he can hit for consistency. The 3 things I kind of look for in a batter. Every year, he lowers his strikeouts. His first year in the bigs, 2015, he had a little bit over 100 strikeouts batting. Last year, obviously he was injury prone. That went down. The year before that, went down. The year before that, it went down. This guy is the perennial player for this team. There's really a kind of a big trio there with the Cubs, with Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, and Chris Bryant. But I really do think Chris Bryant's going to be the one to lead the charge, right in that 3-hole, best hitter on the team, and they're going to need him to step up big if they want to win it all. Like we said, in a tight division.
Now let's bring it out west once again, the NL West. Like we talked about Bryce Harper, Manny Machado moved from one team in this division to the other, going to the Padres. Nolan Arenado signed a big extension to stay in Colorado. But the Dodgers have won 7 straight NL West pennants and back-to-back World Series berths. Yeah. Steven, do you think they're going to keep their hot streak?
Surprisingly, no. I think the Colorado Rockies finally have the opportunity to win it all. The Giants, another rough year for them, only 66 wins. I think they're going to go into rebuild mode very soon. The Padres, Machado's a great player. I don't think he's a one-man show yet. The Diamondbacks blew it up a little bit this offseason. They're going to be a rough one. But the Rockies and Dodgers are only going to be separated by one game, and that could potentially be a one-game playoff with the Rockies taking it. The thing I like about the Rockies is they have one pitcher named Kyle Freeland who is a monster. He's been really the most consistent starter and probably the best Rockies pitcher since Ubaldo Jimenez in 2013 when he went 19-6. Other than that, the Rockies have had no consistency in the starting pitching category. He went 17-7 last year with a sub-3 ERA. He was around the 2.3 range. Guy, like I said, the Rockies need pitching. He's their man. He's consistent. They have the offense. We see this. Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story. The list goes on and on. But what they need is they need a starting pitcher, and Kyle Freeland's the guy. If he has that offense around him, that's going to give him confidence and just allow him to pitch even better.
Alec?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Steven. I think that number 8 does come from Los Angeles. I do like the Rockies. I do like the signing of Arenado, but I do have them only winning 76 games. To me, they couldn't do it with Tulo. They couldn't do it with Arenado when he was there. They did it with They couldn't do it with Blackmon. Like Jimenez couldn't do it. John Gray couldn't get it done. I just don't see someone walking out of that building ever having that title with the team they have now. I think it goes to the Dodgers with their 93 wins. Their team is just too good. But I think the thing that saves the Dodgers this year is finally their outfield. Their outfield has been the kryptonite for the past few seasons. Puig hasn't played as well, but this year I think is the year for Jock Peterson. I think he's kind of been this unsung hero for the team defensively. I think this is the year he gets the bat turning around for them. Something I do love about him last year was after having a terrible WAR in 2017, turns it around in 2018, having a 2.3 wins above replacement, having a career 7.6. I really like him. I really like his defense. I think that he is the reason that they finally solidify their outfield and then have some defensive stability so they can start building around Clayton Kershaw for the first time in their whole franchise at this point.
Now we talked about all divisions, just like we did with the AL. Let's talk about the wild card game. Steven, go to you first. Who's your wild card matchup?
I do think the Dodgers get in. I really do. Like we said, it's going to be another tight race. And I think they're going to be versing the team that you like, Alec, the Philadelphia Phillies. And I say this because the Dodgers, they are a great team. They really are. They need Clayton Kershaw to be healthy. And in that one-game wild card, it's most likely going to be Kershaw pitching. And I know he's had some struggles in the past, but I really like the Dodgers. And like we said, the Phillies, no slouch of a team either. Bryce Harper's going to carry them, and I think they're going to meet in the wild card.
Well, I have two totally different teams. I think there's a team coming out of the NL East that's going to grab that wild card. I think it's the Nationals. They lost Bryce Harper, yes, but they still have Scherzer. They still have a really great pitching rotation. Strasburg, even in the game against the Mets, looked fantastic. If he can stay consistent this year, I think they have a chance. The other team, shout out to Chris Douglas, I think is the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to turn around this year. Yes, they're not going to win the division, but they will win above 80 games. They will make that wild card selection. Do I think either of these teams will have a chance to go past this wild card game if they win it? No, I think the rest of the NL is too strong, but I believe that these two teams have the best chance to come in second place in their division.
So, fellas, it's 6.5 months until the World Series, but it's never too late to do a World Series prediction. Of the teams you think are getting to the winning the pennant, who do you think is taking on the World Series trophy? Steven, we go to you first.
I'm going to keep it in New York. Battle of the one former New York team. The New York Yankees, I do think, get in. I think they're going to pick it up. And they're going to be versing the team that you like, Alec. The LA Dodgers are going to be from the wild card all the way up to the World Series. Battle of the old Brooklyn teams. Nothing better, of course. I think this would be a really tremendous matchup, ones that the fans would love to see. Two historic franchises going at each other, two heavyweights. The Yankees, their dying need of a World Series, kind of save that the fans, ever since 2009. It's been a dry run. The LA Dodgers, 2 World Series losses straight. They may get 3, but I think they at least get to it against the Yankees.
Alec?
I'm also going to keep it in New York. I think the Yankees represent the American League going into that, but I'm going to change the National League team. I think the Phillies finally have put together the team. Michael Franco is no longer the face of the franchise. He's now the 8-hitter. He can finally be in a utility role, which he's best for. Bryce Harper's now the face. Bryce Hopkins is going to have a great season again. I think they face the Yankees in the World Series, and I think the Yankees take it home. I think they have just too much firepower. At somewhere around July, you'll see them deal for more pitching. They're going to start getting rid of some minor leaguers again. If they can get the right pitchers in there, that lineup is going to hold. I think Philly just is too young and too inexperienced with all these new players coming in. They don't have the chemistry. Give them 2 more years, I think we have a different conversation. But for now, it's the Yankees.
No love for the Brewers, huh?
No.
I'm going to take Milwaukee to win the World Series. Well, that's our show. Big thank you to the crew and our studio manager, Al Clark. Enjoy the MLB season and see you next time.